This is Smarter San Diego TV.
You said you've been talking to scientists, people who have solutions. What needs to be done? $8+ billion in profits in 3 months, but they won't admit that it's happening. Should women be allowed to become Navy SEALs?
The short answer is no.
You lived there
Oh
for
my
4.5
gosh.
years and you didn't know?
So the government now, very, very invested in the mortgage industry. What's happening in China that no one knows about, the news isn't covering? Tell us what's going on.
I'm in the naughty corner today.
Like you said, you're not getting rich in the military. You got to come up with a way to build some wealth. Real estate, best way to do that. I mean, can it still be fixed? And how serious is it really? And if so, what do we need to do?
And now, here's your host, Derek Evans.
Welcome to Smarter San Diego TV. This is the place right here where you get smarter. And it's all commercial free. This is our first live show of the year. Rebecca Peters, my co-host, is joining me. What's up, darling?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Derek.
How are you?
I'm fabulous.
Are you excited for the first live show of the year?
So excited.
What do you think about the shirt?
I love it. It's a
too
great
much?
color on you. No.
No, you like
No.
it, right?
No,
Bueno?
it's festive. It's like, it's a new year. I'm bright. I'm colorful. Setting
Yeah.
the stage for 2016.
And we have a great show today.
We do.
I'll tell you, I'm still a little bit jet lagged from the Spain trip, though.
Yeah.
You have questions for me. I know you do, so
I've
fire
been
away.
dying to ask you. I mean, you have to tell us. You went to Spain.
Right.
Which part of Spain?
Went to Barcelona, Valencia, and Madrid.
Right.
And I can tell you they're all worth going to.
Okay, so you spent the whole
2
break,
weeks.
2 weeks there, Christmas and New Year's Day.
And New Year's.
So what did you do for both those holidays? What did you do on Christmas? Because I know in Spain, they're religious, they're Catholic, they've got
Big
their
time.
whole, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's surprisingly though, but it's a very international place. Spain is a very international country. Everywhere we went, there's lots of different cultures that are represented. So, you know, the Indian restaurants are open, the Chinese restaurants are open and stuff like that. So we were able to just hang out, really not do anything too crazy. But all the museums and whatnot are shut down
Right.
for Christmas and for New Year's Day and things like that. So don't plan on having that as a day that you can get stuff done as far as your trekking is concerned, but it's more of a day to just sort of take a little vacation in your traveling, because we're travelers. We don't vacation. There's a difference. Travelers,
Yes.
like, you know, you go out and you're like, okay, we're going to see 10 things today. We're going to be exhausted by the end of the day. That's traveling. Vacation is the beach with a beer.
Right.
You know, and that's not, Europe's not designed for that.
No.
You go to Europe to see a bunch of really old stuff. Mind-bogglingly old stuff.
Really old stuff.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of years old. But I'll tell you the one thing that really tripped me out in Madrid at the Royal Palace, which, by the way, I got a tie at the Royal Palace. I'm going to be wearing it soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll see. It's
You're
very
gonna
royal.
surprise us, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's nice. But at the Royal Palace in Madrid, which is where the royalty there have lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, there's a painting that's like 300 years old. In that painting is Charles V, or as they call him, Carlos V. And there's a table that he's leaning against. It's hundreds of years old, this painting. That table is in the room still. That tripped me out. I was like, wait a minute, that's the table in the painting? That's like 300 years old? Crazy. So it's really for people who want to like go and see a big chunk of history.
Right. Now, I know for me, I've been to Spain. I went to Spain, I was like 10 years old, so my memories of Spain aren't that great. But coming from Europe and traveling to Europe a lot, I think the best part about it is the history and just walking around and realizing these buildings are older than, you know, the United States discovery.
Totally.
So, I mean, for you, like, if there is something that you could tell someone, you know, go to Spain, you have to do this, what would that be?
Go to Barcelona. If there's only one place you can go to Barcelona. And go to see La Sagrada Familia.
La
which
Sagrada
is-
Familia.
Yeah, which is a cathedral that was built by a man who's a very famous architect there. I believe he's Italian. No, he's French. His name is Gaudi. And he built this Sagrada Familia, which is a cathedral that is bigger than anything I've ever seen. When he decided to start building it in the late 1800s, he knew he would never finish it in his lifetime. Beck, they're still 10 years away from finishing this thing.
And I'm sorry, when did they start this?
In the late 1800s, like 1883. So they're still not done.
They're still working via the Donkey Express?
Still working on this thing. It's just so massive. Hundreds of feet tall. It sticks out amongst all of the big buildings that are around there.
That's
You can see it
amazing.
from every high point in Barcelona. When you walk into this place, it's life-changing. It's a religious experience. Whether you're Catholic or not, you walk into this place, it is a religious experience. If there's one thing you're going to do in Spain, go to Barcelona and see the Sagrada Familia.
That's amazing. I got kind of distracted because you were talking about Christmas Day and all the restaurants were open. You guys are vegan.
Yeah.
Now, I know Europe is obviously it's a little bit more diverse than we are here in the United States, but how was it finding different vegan restaurants? It seems like you guys did really well.
It was easy, and I'll tell you one thing that's really
Really?
important to know. Yeah, it was easy. They're everywhere. Happy Cow. That's the app you need. If you're vegan, download Happy Cow. It's $4. It's worth it. It'll tell you where all the vegan restaurants are or vegetarian restaurants are, and gives you a map view around your current location. So we found there were tons of them. And that wasn't what was really interesting, though, and I'll tell you this, because I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if this is true in Europe because it wasn't in Italy, but in Spain, the people are miserable. I mean, they're miserable. They walk down the
England.
street.
Everyone's miserable in England.
Really? Because they walk down the street just miserable. Everyone's miserable. We would smile at people, and they would walk past us. We would try to get people to smile.
Oh,
We actually
wow.
wrote a sign and put "smile" on it in Spanish, and we only got like maybe 5 out of 100 people to smile.
Wow.
I mean, they're miserable people. But the people who work at the vegan restaurants were awesome.
Yeah.
They were loving life. I mean, they were so joyous and happy. So, in case you're in Spain and you're like, I'm sick of all these frowny, faced people, go to the vegan restaurants.
Just go to a vegan restaurant. And
That's
the food
where
was
they're at.
good.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, enough about Spain. We got to get this show started. You ready? We got some great guests today.
Really excited.
All right, time to put my jacket on because it's time to start the show.
Our next guest was the co-host with our host on the Edge Sports Talk radio show on ESPN Radio here in San Diego. Please welcome to the show for the very first time, Bobby Wooldridge.
There he is. Bobby Woo is in the house. What's up, my man?
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for inviting me in.
The Edge. Do you remember The Edge?
Oh, I still miss it to this day.
Yeah.
I don't know
It
if the
was awesome.
audience remembers The Edge, but
Maybe not. It was a short-lived dream that we had that was great on ESPN Radio, doing sports talk radio. And by the way, when I asked you to come on the show today, we were just going to do, I just wanted your take on the Chargers. I didn't realize they were going to file an application to leave today.
yeah.
And by the way, before we get to that, I don't think a lot of people know your history in the space. So how long did you produce for Hacksaw?
I was with Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, the legendary Lee Hacksaw. He makes me say that every
Is
time.
that-
Yeah, still, I'll get phone calls from him if I don't introduce him like that. But yeah, I was with Lee for maybe 3 years and a couple different time slots with him and multiple different co-hosts and failed experiments with Lee. But worked with him and Scott and BR here in San Diego and Dave and Jeff also still here in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They
Yeah.
are still doing it.
But
getting that thing
those were all small potatoes compared to working with you on the edge.
done.
So.
That's right, exactly. Now, Lee Hamilton, he's known, I mean, like a lot of people, Jim Rome, in fact, is known as for kind of making fun of him.
Yeah.
That's how he got his shtick.
Everyone makes fun of him.
Everyone
but,
makes
yeah.
fun of him. I mean, it was one of those things where people thought that he should have been gone a long time ago. That's what the chatter was like, why is this guy still on the air? But you were producing his shows at that time. Tell us, is there anything that we don't know about Hacksaw that you could tell the audience?
Well, Lee Hacksaw, he plays this really tough guy, sports, but he actually is a genuinely good guy with a good heart, and he doesn't let that out very often. And I have a theory, we've talked about the Chargers leaving here. There is the curse of the Hacksaw that I don't know if you know.
I don't know about that.
The last time the Chargers went to the Super Bowl, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton was their play-by-play announcer. Since they relieved him of his duties, they haven't been back.
Oh, wow. There it is.
The curse of the saw.
Well, we figured it out right here on Smarter San Diego TV. This
There we
is
go.
where you
End the
figure
segment,
things
wrap it up there. That's all you need to know.
The curse of the Hacksaw.
Yes.
So I agree with you, by the way, because when I was doing my show, the Mr. Credit Radio show, I would run into Hacksaw at BCA in the hallways, and he was always super polite. He would always say really nice things. So I do want to say, I commend him for that. I mean, he did have that bravado when he was on the air. He would yell at people, say, "You're an idiot," and that was always funny. Everyone loved that stick. It was great. But he really is a nice guy. I mean, he would genuinely, before he even knew who I was, he would be like, "How you doing? Good morning."
Well, and there's
What's going
plenty
on?
of things wrong with him, but it's only a 10-minute segment, so I don't want
We don't want to go down that road.
No.
So this happened with the Chargers. What actually happened? They filed the paperwork to leave? They want to go?
So Chargers, Raiders, Rams have all filed paperwork to request to relocate to Los Angeles, and it would have been a bigger surprise if any of those teams didn't file. It was their first opportunity to file. They all filed, and now it's up to the 32 team owners. They need a 3/4 vote. I'm not a math guy, but I believe that's 24 owners.
Correct.
Need to allow the Chargers or Raiders or Rams to give them the thumbs up. You guys are allowed to move to LA. And
Could they all move? Is that possible?
the league wants 2 teams. It'll be 2 out of 3. 1 team will be left in the cold. If you're a betting man, which I am, I check the Vegas odds. Chargers are the odds-on favorite to leave. So that's
number one favorite.
The
to
number
be
one
gone?
favorite to leave, followed by the
Yeah.
Rams, followed by the Raiders.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see the Raiders. That doesn't make any sense to me. For the Raiders to go to LA. Have they been to LA? Been in LA though in the past?
I would love the Raiders to come back. To me, that seems like the perfect fit. I'm from Orange County and grew up in LA as well, and went to college in LA. You can walk down the street, you'll still see Raider fans. You'll still see
Yeah.
Raiders hats and T-shirts.
It's true.
They
Here
were
there's a
the
ton of
LA
them here.
Raiders.
Yeah.
When I was like a little kid, when we used to come here on vacation,
Yeah.
they were the LA Raiders.
Indeed.
So why do these teams come to LA and then leave? Because the Rams were also in LA before.
Bring back the straight out of Compton, type of thing too.
Right?
The Raider fans would go crazy if you brought them back. Nobody likes the Chargers in LA.
Yeah.
They hate the Chargers. And I don't. The move doesn't make any sense to me. Why they'd uproot them and
I
bring
have
them
a
up there.
feeling that I know why this is all taking place, and it's a common sense theory, but money. And what's happened is people have seen how much money the LA Dodgers have been making, and they're going, why are the Dodgers getting all this money? I mean, they have a good team. Yeah, it's a big market, but why are they getting all this money? Because you have the Dodgers, you have the Clippers, the Lakers, the Kings, okay, and then you have
USC, UCLA, everything else, Galaxy. I mean, there's
tons of stuff there. But the Dodgers, big brand, been there for a long time. They've done a good job. The organization spending money, and they're making that money on their spend. So there's ROI there. So I have a feeling that these NFL teams are looking at that and going, man, these guys are getting just a ton of the professional sports revenue in LA, billions of dollars. Crazy. Their payroll's insane, and it's nothing. And they could spend $300 million a year on payroll for the Dodgers, and it's nothing. Nothing. So I think that's what it is. I think they saw that, and once that started happening, as soon as Magic Johnson moved in, basically, they were like, wait a minute.
yeah.
Smooth? No. So they decided they want to come for that money. That's what I think it is. I think it's all about dollars. They think there's a lot of extra money there. I don't know if there is, though, Bobby.
There is money to be made there. There is kind of NFL owners, poor us in San Diego. No NFL team is losing money. No owner is going to be eating dog food in retirement. They're doing quite all right.
Yeah.
You get almost $200 million just for owning a team. That's a check they give you at the beginning of the year. Hey, you own a team? Here's the revenue sharing. And that's before you sell tickets, before you sell TV time, before you sell jerseys, and anything else that you can think of. And so they're doing just fine. But they would also have to pay a $550 million relocation fee, any team that goes there.
Okay.
And that's before you move your desk and everything else and personnel and yada yada. And before you even put a shovel in the ground to build the stadium. So this is going to be an expensive move.
Yeah, big time. So there's a lot that goes behind that, too. But everyone seems to have done the math. It seems like everybody wants in. Now, there's only going to be 2 teams. You said the Chargers are the favorite. Who's the least favorite?
Raiders, they said, is the odds-on least favorite. But to me, they're in the most dire situation. I don't know if you've been to the Oakland Coliseum. And judging by, I don't think you have any bullet or stab wounds on you, so it looks like you haven't, because it is a scary place. But they need to get out of Oakland. They're going nowhere in Oakland. They do have Al Davis' son's owning the team now. It doesn't seem quite as much of a wild card as his dad was. And so I think they would really benefit from a move back down to here. They'd be embraced. If the Chargers came up there, it'd be kind of cool, I guess. Well, maybe we'll check out a game. But I think most of their ticket sales would be the corporates buying up suites and things like that and giving them out to clients rather than actual fans in the stadium buying season tickets.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the Chargers would do very well in LA, but it looks like that's it's happening. I mean, it's happening. So I've seen a lot of rumors about MLS potentially coming to San Diego.
That would be rad.
Would that be cool?
That would be so
I
cool.
think the town would love an MLS team. Or any type of professional soccer. We have the Sockers, which I've checked out their games before, and those are fun. They're a blast, but it's not at the same par as an MLS team or NFL team.
Yeah, no question about that. So is it a good thing, though, at the end of the day, if the Chargers do leave? Because everyone just kind of assumes that it's a bad thing. But would it actually be – are there some positives there?
I think there is some positive. It obviously won't cost the taxpayers tons and tons of money, and it's sort of like a Band-Aid. The most painful part of the situation is the waiting and the doubt. But if you just pull the Band-Aid off and they go, and we can focus on other things here. Obviously, Comic-Con's a big draw. Padres are still a big draw. It's still a destination city.
Right.
And you wouldn't know it by looking outside by Stormageddon, but it's usually pretty good weather around here, too.
Stormageddon.
Yeah.
All I can think of is that old SNL skit with Chris Farley. He goes, "I am El Nino," Spanish for the Nino. It's so good.
Well, you said Padres, so you went there. Pretty disappointing season last year for the Pods. I mean, they went and spent all that money, and then had like the exact same record as the year before, or something like that.
Even worse.
Was it worse?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But they did draw a lot more people. They spent a lot more time and money and energy and effort marketing the product, and getting people down into the stadium and creating a better experience in that stadium. So are the Padres just completely doomed? I mean, because they went and spent the money, got the names, and it still didn't happen.
Well, kudos to the Padres, and if they're hiring, I'm available. So, but kudos to the Padres. They're doing things the right way. They have new ownership in there. They have new leadership in there.
Right.
And I think they're on the right track. Obviously, the products on the field's not quite what we expect or would hope for, but they spent money on a giant jumbotron. It looks beautiful, and the game experience is better. The Star Wars night thing they did, they're doing cool promotions, and really something that the San Diego public can be excited about going down there for.
Right.
And they're doing things the right way, and even just the way they're utilizing the ballpark outside of the baseball games, like the links at Petco Park. I went down there and was able to golf with my dad and brother and one of my best friends, and we had a blast. And they're doing concerts. Taylor Swift came into town.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know.
Oh, well, we're like that. The Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, all this stuff, and they're thinking outside the box, which I like. Something that the previous ownership and previous management didn't do.
Were you disappointed in their managerial decision as far as who they brought in as the manager?
Too early to tell. I honestly don't know much about him, and anybody who says they know a lot about him is lying. He's never had an MLB job. You don't know what he's going to do. I'm on Team Buddy Black. I wish they would have kept him.
I think that was crazy. Buddy would have managed that team better. He would have done a better job.
Well, I think they pulled the trigger a little early. Anything pre-All-Star break, you don't really know what you have on your hands. Padres are a second-half team. We've seen that with Buddy Black teams in the past. They break late.
Always.
And I wish they would have stayed with him a little longer. And the guy they had in there, he just was not going to be a good fit.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough thing because you go out and you spend the money, and very few teams go and spend the money in baseball and have it not work out, for the most part. If you look at the payrolls and you look at the stats at the end of the year, they line up pretty close. There are some teams that are really efficient that will sort of outkick the coverage, if you will, as far as their performance versus their payrolls. But for the most part, people go and spend the kind of money that the Padres did, and they still have to eat a big piece of the burger of that Matt Kemp deal, which comes this year. So they're going to have an even bigger payroll this year than they did last year. I just don't see what's going to change anything in the results column. Do you think that they'll have a good year?
I think it'll be similar, maybe a little bit better. It's just such a competitive division with the Dodgers spending insane amount of money, and the Giants have a checkbook with a billion zeros in it too, and so it's a tough division. But as we've seen with the Kansas City Royals and the Cardinals and other teams, you don't need to be the highest spender to win a championship. You can find holes in the system, and the way the game of baseball is set up and played, you can find loopholes to make some pretty strong teams on a balanced budget.
Okay, but do you think that will happen this year for the Padres?
But I've been wrong before. It can happen. I wouldn't have said the Kansas City Royals 2 years ago. They really had a breakout year and they made it to a World Series. I didn't think they were going to be anywhere near the playoffs, let alone a World Series contender. And now they've gone to back-to-back World Series and won one. So.
Yeah, great stuff. Bobby Wooldridge, wish we had more time with you, man. Thanks for coming today. Really appreciate it.
Is that it?
Yeah. It's not like radio, man. We don't have an hour like we used to.
Get security. I'm not leaving.
Appreciate your time. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
next guest is someone we all know quite well. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Carlsbad himself, Bryan Devore, with his special guest from Silver Linings Transitions, Jami Shapiro.
All right, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, Mr. Carlsbad.
Yes, sir.
My good buddy Bryan Devore is here. You want to bring Jami on today?
Yes.
Tell us why.
Very excited. So obviously, being a realtor, I work with a lot of people who are transitioning and they're moving.
Sure.
And moving is one of the top 5 stresses that anyone can go through. And unfortunately, people get into situations where they're trying to sell their house, they're trying to deal with work at the same time, they have to pack, they have their young kids, or they're older and they're downsizing, and it would be great to have someone who can help them with that.
Yeah.
My friend Jami here owns a company that can do just that.
Wow.
So that's why I wanted to bring her on.
All right, Jami, tell us about Silver Linings Transitions.
Well, thank you. Yes, what Bryan said, moving is considered to be one of the top 5 life stressors, and we specialize in seniors. So I always tell people we don't discriminate based on age, but for seniors, the transition that they're making is actually identified as relocation stress syndrome. It's actually the most difficult transition a person will make in their lifetime. And so having somebody that can compassionately and gently guide them through the process really just does make the process easier for them. And we handle the entire transition. So from the moment that they decide that they are going to downsize and sell their family home, they're going to have so many possessions. And you think of the accumulation that we make over our lifetimes and then having to go through the purging of that. And it's very traumatic, and it represents a lot for them emotionally, because when you think of that transition, it's not a transition like going into kindergarten or going off to college or getting married. It represents something a little different. So having people that come in and can help with that transition just really takes the worry and the work, kind of is what we say, out of the move process.
Well, the good news is when you go through a transition like that and you get ready, you do that purge, you feel a lot better on the other side of it. So you know you're going to send people, they'll be better off than they were when you found them.
Well,
but I'm a big senior advocate, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't.
And I do know how stressful a move is. And what it really is a move is it's change. Mm-hmm. And change for a lot of seniors is their number one fear.
Right.
They don't want anything to change. They're desperately holding on to everything exactly the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that's change oriented, I mean, it could be the neighbor changes and they freak out, you know. Now imagine moving their stuff to a new location.
Or not even all their stuff, they have to get rid of some of their stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a very big deal. So you handle, what part of the process do you handle?
So let me, if I can walk you through it a little
Sure,
bit.
please.
So when they identify where they're going, and we can help them, either we'll refer them to a realtor like Bryan, or we'll refer them if they're going into a senior community with someone who does placement and help them identify the right place for them to be. So once we figured out where they're going, we'll go in and we take space plan measurements, and then we work with them on a floor plan. We measure their furniture. We figure out exactly what they can realistically and safely fit. We do cabinet counts and really just figure out, okay, well, you're not going to be entertaining 12 people anymore. Do you need 2 sets of 12 dishes? No. So we really break the move down for them, and then we go through a sorting process, and we actually use a labeling system. Some of the times they want to do it themselves, they want to save the money, and we'll do that with them, and sometimes they want us to do it all, but we do a labeling system. We figure out what's going to stay and go with them, what's going to be donated, what's going to be given to loved ones, and what can we sell. And then we'll help them figure out the best way for them to make money. Sometimes we'll do consignment, sometimes we'll work with an estate sale person, sometimes we liquidate. We do a lot of different things, and something that I didn't share with you that I think is really important to the component of what we do is that I employ mothers who have altered their careers to be home with their children. So who better to go in and help seniors than people who have been caring for their homes and being homemakers. And
does that have something to do with the apron? Just curious.
yeah, well,
I don't
so
know.
let me tell you a little bit about the name and the apron, and I'll
Okay.
put it together. And then I didn't finish, what we do. So let me finish what we do, because
Sure.
I think that will help. So we figure out what's going to go, and then we figure out a move strategy. So we actually just recently did a Carlsbad move. We went someone who had dementia and could no longer live on her own. So we took her from Carlsbad by the Sea to Brookdale, Carlsbad. She did not know that this change was going to happen. So we had to get in and plan it while she was away. And she had a caretaker take her for coffee, and I did all the space planning and the measurements. And then the day of the move, she was kept out of the home, and we were able to go in one day, my team and I, and we created, and I'll share pictures with you, this beautiful home that represented the memories in her life, and we grouped pictures together that would mean something to her. And I mean, she got out of her bed that morning, left it unmade, and came home to a freshly made bed and decorated room, and it felt really great to have her walk in and see this place, and it's pretty traumatic. So
That's awesome.
we get them packed, we get them unpacked, we decorate, and then the best part is that they've got an organized linen closet, they've got their bed made, they've got their toothbrush in the holder, and for people who are moving to a bigger space, they know where their coffee pot is. I know when I've moved, like the worst thing is like you can't find your coffee pot. So we take all the boxes, we take all the paper, and we really just make that process easier.
Okay.
So the mango apron, because
Mango.
we are not,
Yeah.
that big company, is that a lot of times when working with seniors, we are dealing with people who have dementia.
Sure.
And so this is a very memorable and bright color, and we always say moving you towards a brighter tomorrow, because we're really trying to focus on what's positive in the move
Sure.
and not what they're losing. But do you know that if you go to an assisted living community, you'll never have to cook another meal? Isn't that awesome? You have a cleaning lady, it's like cruise ship living on land. So we really try to focus on the silver lining that they find in the move.
Okay, that's great stuff.
Yes.
Wow, Brian, great idea.
So
Back
really,
question.
it's more than you guys just packing up boxes and putting them in a new home. You actually set up the new home as well. You unpack
Right.
as well. That's really cool.
We decorate, and we also really are trying to recreate that home feeling. So we'll go into their home and figure out what is your favorite chair and what are the things that you really like. And then we really try to make that space feel as homey as possible. And what's great, I love the word synergy, but when you get a group of women together, we really can create this just amazing environment. And sometimes I walk away and I can't even believe that we did the job that we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Very cool stuff, and a needed service, frankly,
Yeah.
especially for a lot of people out there who are trying to move a mom or dad,
Right.
or a grandpa and grandma. This is something to really take a look at. She mentioned Carlsbad. She brought it up.
Yes, she
Mr.
did.
Devore, so I'm
Yes.
gonna lean on you now.
All right.
It's a new year.
Yes, it is.
This is the first live show of the new year. Mm-hmm. Tell us what happened to Carlsbad in Carlsbad in 2015, and
Yeah.
what you think will happen in 2016.
So 2015, looking back, I did a study of the different zip codes in Carlsbad and how they did on sales, how they did on prices. And except for one category, which was price in the 92009 zip code, every category was up, in some cases double digits. For example, 92008 had 17% sales increase. Other zip codes, it's huge. Other zip codes had 5% price increases. So it's a very healthy market in Carlsbad. And my guesstimate is that it's going to continue that way. I read something today that said that San Diegans spent $9.4 billion last year on rent. Rents are just going to keep going up, and that's what's going to keep prices going up.
Well, there's still a lot of opportunity in Carlsbad too, right? Because it's one of the few places where there's still some new developments. There are newer communities that are somewhat coastal,
Correct.
you know, if not totally coastal.
Right.
So that's kind of been the big appeal to Carlsbad. A lot of people are saying it's becoming sort of an extension of Orange County.
Right,
And
exactly.
it sort of is. It sort of looks and feels that way. Everything's beautiful. It's new.
Right.
There's lots of great shopping.
And a study came out in Kiplinger last year, did an article that said that Carlsbad is one of the top 10 retirement destinations. So, you know, Jami's service is certainly appropriate for that.
Yeah, no question about it. What do you think will be a shock? Is there anything that'll shock us this year about the market in Carlsbad?
You know, I can't really think that anything would really shock us. You know, it's an election year, and typically things are relatively stable in an election year. So, I mean, unless something dramatic happens, I don't see it happening. I think we'll see sales volume will continue to be strong. Prices will continue to increase probably at a 2 to 5% clip, depending on zip code and depending on neighborhood, because it's hyper-local, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. In the 4 zip codes, Carlsbad is a big area. The 4 zip codes, each zip code's pretty big. frankly.
Absolutely.
So you add them all together, and Carlsbad's huge.
Right.
So there is a lot of dynamic aspects to the real estate market there.
And if you go to mrcarlsbad.com, you'll be able to see all the different stats, as well as ways to get information on a daily or weekly basis on what these prices are doing and what's selling near them. I post on the Carlsbad Patch, which is a local website, like a magazine website, and I did a full recap of the year, and I look forward to next year as well, so you can take a look at carlsbadpatch.com or go to mrcarlsbad.com.
mrcarlsbad.com is also where you can get free access to the reports that you offer people.
Absolutely,
So if you want to find out what's happening in your neighborhood from a real estate perspective, you go to mrcarlsbad.com.
Correct.
And you can get that information 100% free. Of course, if you're looking to buy or sell real estate in Carlsbad, you know who to call. It's Mr. Carlsbad himself, Bryan Devore. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank
man.
you.
Really appreciate your
Appreciate
time
it.
and bringing Jami. Jami, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
That
you.
was great
It
stuff.
was a lot of fun.
And all the great work you're doing out there. It's really needed. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is the owner of San Diego's newest real estate brokerage. Please welcome to the show for the first time, Tiresias Garnotta.
All right, welcome to the show. Tiresias is here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's been a while
Yes.
since we've had the chance to chat.
Yes.
Since then, you have opened your new real estate brokerage.
Yes,
Versant
Versant.
Realty.
Versant
Versant.
Realty, yep.
It's not Versant.
No, it's Versant.
Versant.
It looks
very
like
elegant.
Versant, but Versant.
So what I wanted to do is give you an opportunity here today to tell everybody about it. What you're doing with the new brokerage, what your theme is. I saw your grand opening, and the office is amazing. So let's start with a little bit about you. Tell us about Tiresias and your experience.
Yeah. So I have been selling real estate for 13 years, and I have worked with a few different big corporations, real estate corporations, and I've worked with investors, I've done short sales, and I've had the opportunity to manage lots of different realtors. And so with that, I've gotten lots of feedback on what they would like to see out of a real estate company. I've just been able to work in many different departments of selling real estate.
Right.
So selling real estate, but also being able to manage and work with different clients. And
So was it one of those things where you were like, okay, I think I have a better way to do this. Or I think I have a way to do this that I think people would be more amped about. Is that why you wanted to start your own thing?
yes, and when you're a consumer and you're going to a barber shop or a store, basically anywhere that provides services, you're naturally going to think like, oh, how can I make this better? And so I think that's what other realtors were doing when they were coming to me, and they'd provide feedback and things that they would like to see different. And I naturally did that as well. And so I took the things that I really loved about some companies, and then things that I wanted to add to the real estate industry and to brokerages. And that's why I did this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us what it is that you found that you liked everywhere else that you turned into Versant.
What is that thing?
Well, the thing that I liked about everything else.
Yeah, what is Versant now based on all those things that you found that you liked, that you created this company around?
Yeah. Well, I would say that there is really good management and knowledge about the industry, and so I wanted to bring that, of course, to my brokerage. The thing that's different, though, is really I wanted to take the corporate feel out of my company.
Yeah.
And so when you walk up into the office, it is crystal chandeliers, tufted couches. It's a whole nother feel. And I just wanted agents to feel like they could come to a pretty office to work at, because that's what I wanted.
Right.
And and so that was important to me.
You wanted a pretty office to
Yeah,
work at.
I wanted to go in the office and not feel like I was sitting in a cubicle.
Yeah.
And not, I just really wanted to steer away from that. And so there's a professionalism that is at all of these corporations, and they're beautiful when you walk in, but I felt like there was just a little piece of that niche that's missing, that little, little bit more
Style.
sparkly.
Yeah.
Like
Say
a sparkly.
style.
Yeah, style sparkly. And so I wanted clients to walk in there and go like, wow, this doesn't look like a real estate office, or agents to walk in there and go, okay, I want to just stay here and just plug away, and I feel good about working here. And
Well, it's funny because the transition in work environments has been happening since Google, decided to kind of create an environment of almost like for gamers. Like the people who work there, they basically built an office that they didn't want people to ever leave it, or they wanted
Yeah.
people to be excited about coming there.
Right.
And so that's a big deal. It's tough to do in real estate, but I think you've done a great job with it. I've seen the videos, the pictures from your grand opening
you.
online,
Yeah.
and the place looks amazing.
Thank
So you've
you.
got that down. You got the feel down. You're bringing your professional experience. What else about Versant should we know about?
well, a little funny thing. So I just bought something called Fun Mugs, and so I saw this on New Girl, and it was just so funny to me. So whenever an agent goes and grabs a coffee mug, it's going to be funny. And so just little things like that, if we're talking about the feeling of the company, they're just drinking their coffee and they're able to just kind of giggle because it makes them look like they have a mustache, or it says something inspirational but goofy. And then as far as, if we're talking about really the meat and potatoes of the company, it's systems. So I've created systems for these agents when they're sitting down with clients, forms to where they're not going to forget. When you're out there and you're selling real estate, you might forget to ask a couple questions that would make a big difference, at the end of a transaction or during the transaction. And so just really giving them tools and marketing tools, and it's just more support.
More support.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one-on-one coaching, where I know that is offered at other companies, but I'm gearing it more towards, I have very different tests that I give them. So it's it's just really getting to know their style as a real estate agent rather than just what they think that their strengths are.
So tell us, where is the office located?
It's on
specifically?
5th and Pennsylvania in Hillcrest.
5th and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so
Hillcrest.
it's surrounded by
Happening
like,
area.
oh my gosh, there are so many great restaurants. So many great restaurants.
Yeah, that's
I just
so
found baby
Hillcrest.
cakes like down the street. Just bad. It's like cupcakes.
It's like the good news,
And
bad news
I-
moment where you're like, awesome. Whoa, wait a minute.
Wait, I don't want to know this is here. I just, yeah. So my favorite restaurants down the street also, Chocolat, and then there's the Brew Project. Just awesome, fun places to meet with clients and to just meet with agents. And so it's nice to be able to get out of the office for lunch and have a little powwow. And
Well, let me try to pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
You've obviously got experience in the industry. We just finished up 2015. Moving forward, 2016, what do you think is going to happen in the real estate market for San Diego, and what's on tap for Versant?
yeah, well, what I'm seeing in the real estate industry, in the market, there isn't much available that is the perfect home. And so, as consumers, they have an idea of exactly what they want, and then when they actually go out there and look at the home, they're let down, and it doesn't even have to do what they can afford, because if they bring up their price range to 600,000, if they're in 500 and they bring it up to 600,000, their expectations are, that they're going to get a little bit more, but then that also changes the playing field a little bit. So no matter what price range you're in the millions, it doesn't matter. You're looking at really low inventory of having like that perfect home or having a home that really checks all those boxes. It's just really hard to find. And so when they are out there, there's multiple offers on these homes and the buyers are getting frustrated. So I'm still seeing that, but there is a lot more inventory to choose from.
I was going to say, that may never change
Yeah,
in San Diego.
exactly.
It's like it's been that way in San Francisco now for
Yeah.
a long time. So
Yeah.
people think it's just a phase, like, low inventory, but low is a relative term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just the normal inventory now.
Yeah.
There just isn't that much. It's not low. It's just this is, I think, become the new norm.
It's just what's great might be low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What's perfect? The
What's
perfect
perfect,
home,
yeah.
the turnkey home
Yeah,
that
even
someone's
just
already
great.
done all the work.
Yeah,
It's ready to
exactly.
go.
Yeah.
That one's flying off the shelves. Multiple offers.
Right.
What's on top for Versant in 2016?
Yeah, so we are doing little gathering, like little classes and stuff, but it's more, we're reaching out to the agents and just really networking with other, with other companies. And one of the ones I'm doing is like I don't know, not really a lunch and learn. I don't really know what to call it, but we will do a short little class and then have wine. And so it's just really a time to get together, and network, but then also learn a little bit, but that's really short. I just feel like it's about relationships. So I'm just gonna get out there and just create great relationships with people, because I already have that, but I wanna know more people.
Yeah.
It benefits my clients and it benefits our agents, and just to know great quality people in this industry.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, congratulations on going out on your own and creating Versant.
Yes,
Versant.
Can you say it one more time? Rebecca?
Versant.
Versant.
See, yeah, that's perfect. I'm just gonna have her do my
She's going to stand in the front.
do my answering. It's called Versant Royalty. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Good luck
Yeah, thank
with the
you.
real estate brokerage
Thank
this
you.
year. I have a feeling you'll do very, very well. And stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is one of our favorite correspondents here at Smarter San Diego. Please welcome back real estate expert Billy Colstock and his special guest from Apollo Realty Investments, Jim Ritter.
All right. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Did you know you were one of our favorite correspondents, Billy?
I did not
You
yet.
do now.
I do now. It's here. It's here. I appreciate that.
Great to have you. Happy New Year, et cetera, et cetera. You've done a lot of great work for us on the show and for the community of Del Cerro. Today you wanted to bring Jim Ritter on. Tell us why.
I really wanted to bring Jim because of how much great work they're doing. They're doing great work in the communities. Their product is fantastic, and they really stand behind what they present to the market. So I really wanted to bring that to the forefront so that they can tell people a little bit about their business.
Okay. Jim, tell us your story. What's with Apollo?
So as Billy mentioned, our company's Apollo Realty Investments. So we buy distressed homes. renovate them, and resell them.
Okay.
So, you know, there's quite a few out there. There's, you know, always going to be houses that have foundation problems or haven't been updated in years, and so we buy those and renovate them.
So would you call yourselves a flipper?
I don't like that term.
Is that a bad word, F word, flipper?
Well, there are some renovation companies that do, you know, people call it lipstick on a pig, where they just do the very bare minimum and sell it. But we don't do that because we have a reputation to uphold. And so when we sell these things, we stand behind them. The buyer may come back to us in a year. Oh, this issue came up. We're going to fix that, because although that buyer's never going to buy another house from us, likely the agent that worked with them, we want to be on good terms with them. So
okay, that makes sense.
Seen that?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. This is the product that they present to the market. They're always trying to better their product, better their systems, and make sure that they're putting something out there that's good.
Yeah, I've never heard of an investor group or a flipping company that will come back a year later and fix something if there's a problem. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to make you stand out amongst the crowd. Is it getting more difficult now in San Diego because prices are higher, and we keep hearing people say low inventory? Is that making your business more difficult right now?
Well, the way we've sort of worked it is purchase the home, renovate it in 3 to 4 weeks, get it back on the market, put a good product out there so it sells after a week on the market, 30-day escrow. So we buy it in January, we're out of it at the end of February. So we're in and out.
Wow.
So we're barely touching the market. We don't want to be exposed, because if prices go down, yeah, I mean, we're a for-profit business, so we've been very careful to just not expose ourselves to changing markets. And every neighborhood has its own little separate, micro, economic, factors. So we just look at each, Del Cerro, for example, we know it well. We know the specific niches in there, so we'll buy something, renovate it to what the buyers are looking for there, put it on the market. And
I think that makes sense to talk about Del Cerro then, just because, Billy is our guy in Del Cerro, because you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Del Cerro, Billy, this is a community of homes that are, the 70s mostly, were built in the 70s.
Mostly.
So we're talking, okay, it's been a while now. It's been 40 years or more in some cases. It's time for a lot of these homes to get some major work done to them.
Sure.
And if someone bought a home originally there and hasn't done any of that work, let's say they've grown up there, raised their family there, now they're ready to move on to the next thing, there may be a lot of work that needs to be done. Does that coincide well with what Jim does?
Well, absolutely, because what's going on in that community is like you say, people have lived in their homes for 30, 40 years. Maybe they haven't done a lot of upgrades to the home. Maybe they haven't done the improvements. Or maybe just the property isn't what the market is desiring right now.
Gotcha.
And so, yes, it is a perfect property for them. Now, Jim and his company are a for-profit business, and so they are going to be writing offers that might be lower than what the market is going to bear. Yet, if you're somebody who's looking for, maybe you inherited the property, and you don't want, and you're out of state, and you don't want to mess with bringing the property up to date, up to the current selling standards, then this is going to be the right avenue for you.
Okay, that makes sense. Because when we look at the Del Cerro community in general, we see that it's not growing. It kind of is what it is. There's one little development. I think they're going to build 20 homes or something like that, and there hasn't been a development there in decades.
Right.
So it kind of is what it is. And what you see a lot of times in those types of communities is the sellers don't have to make as many improvements to get away with selling the property for close to market value, because of the fact that there just aren't that many homes for sale. Someone wants to live in Del Cerro, okay, yeah, we'll have to deal with that. We'll have to take care of it on our own as the buyer. So I feel like if you did have a property to sell and you were able to get it into tip-top shape, you might be able to really get a lot of money for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beck, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of based off of what you said, I think this is more of a question for you, Jim, but I'm sure you can answer as well, Billy. What types of things should these people who've been living there for years and years and years, what should they be looking for in regards to this?
Really anything that is going to affect the house's ability to get financing on it. So foundation problems. If it has a wood shake roof, a lot of these things can restrict a buyer being able to get financing. And so it's going to have to sell to a cash buyer like us, because the bank just won't loan on it based on its condition. So yeah, the main things are the foundation problems. Other things that may not be apparent to a bank, but an appraiser that goes into a property, but will be apparent to a buyer when they do an inspection, are plumbing problems. Old cast iron. These older homes, they have it. Cast iron collapses, and that's going to scare away a lot of buyers. And so that's where we come in. We're used to purchasing homes with thousands of dollars of repairs needed. And obviously we have competition. We're competing against other investors, but unfortunately, back to some of the flippers, one little tactic is submit a high price when you know there are repairs needed, and then ask for price reductions later. And so we don't do that. Again, we have a reputation to uphold, so by doing that, you only burn bridges. Oftentimes we're paying for the closing costs as well, so title and escrow, broker commissions. I mean, we want to make that process as smooth and as easy as possible for homeowners. So we'll write our offer. If it's not on the market, the seller just comes to us directly. We just write the offer and we say we're going to pay all the closing costs. So pretty much we give a net offer, and that's what the seller's going to get at the end.
Fantastic stuff. I want to take this opportunity, since I have you guys and I have a couple minutes left. You guys are very active in the real estate market here in San Diego. What does the future of the San Diego real estate market hold, in your opinion?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm optimistic. We talk about what a healthy market should be, and we should see gentle ups and downs in values. I think we're going to see a little bit of an increase this year. For me, I'm obviously investing in homes that need to be renovated, and I'm in and out of the market quickly. So for me, I just need to pay attention to the houses that are pending, calling those agents and seeing exactly where those are closing at, and just paying attention to overall market times. Billy, I don't know what you with the your overall.
I said it last time is that I agree with Jim that we're going to see a small increase with the interest rates. That's going to definitely affect affordability, the affordability index in San Diego. We still have very low inventory. The inventory probably will go up, but if we stay underneath 3 months of inventory, we will see increases in the market. It's just a matter of how much. So it'll be interesting to see where our inventory is in April. March, April is where we typically see the inventory peak.
Gotcha.
So that'll kind of be the telltale sign of what happens overall in San Diego, whether we start to see a little bit of a decline or if we continue on that upward trend that we've been on.
Fantastic stuff. You can see why he's our guy in Del Cerro. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, call Billy Colstock. Thank you guys so much for both being here today and sharing your knowledge. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is our community correspondent for Scripps Ranch. Please welcome back from Coldwell Banker International, Scott Ryan, and his special guest from Jerebeck Elementary, the principal, Christy Joyner.
All right, welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
Doing great.
All right, great to have you, Scott, as always.
Thank you.
On the show, representing Scripps Ranch, as you have for so long now on the program. I really appreciate all of your work that you've done in the community and here. And today, you wanted to bring the principal on.
Yeah. Well, being a parent, having 2 kids there and a third, shortly, it's I think it's important to talk about how great the schools are in Scripps Ranch, how they affect real estate prices, and how great the parents are that make Jerebeck such a great place.
Absolutely. Christy, thank you so much for coming
Thank
today.
you.
I know
Thank you
school's in session right now, and it's you've got a lot to do there. So really appreciate your time. But the people of Scripps Ranch really want to hear about what's going on. So tell us about Jerebeck.
Well, I think one important thing to know about Jerebeck is that we are part of a large vision for San Diego Unified School District that values quality schools in every neighborhood. So that being said, Scripps Ranch is no exception. We work really hard as a principal group to collaborate in Scripps Ranch with the many schools to provide a great educational program for our students.
That's fantastic. And you guys have there's a lot of involvement, right? Parental involvement, community involvement with the schools.
I think as a part of that vision for quality schools, at Jerebeck we have a very, very involved parent community. They are part of what we do at school. We look at all aspects of our program. On any one day at our school, we might have between 20 and 30 parents on our campus.
Wow.
And that's in classrooms, working with teachers on the playground, during PE, giving art lessons, and they partner with our teachers. We have a terrific staff who embraces that partnership and negotiates how to leverage that support.
That's fantastic. And Scott, you've been a part of that.
I have, absolutely. I remember I taught my son's kindergarten and first grade art core class, and the first thing I got was it was great for me to not only see these kids' faces and my own kid and being a part of my kids' education, but the appreciation level that I have for teachers went to a whole new level. Because when you're trying to herd 22 or 23 kindergarten kids to listen to you, and you're reading them a book and you're teaching them how to do art, it's incredible to keep, number one, keep their attention.
Right.
Number two, to get through the exercise. So for me, just being involved in that one aspect, I've driven some kids on field trips and done some other things to help out, but I had a whole new level of appreciation for what teachers go through on a day-to-day basis. And I think if more parents knew about it, there wouldn't be 25 to 30, there'd probably be 60 parents on campus, So for me, it was very rewarding.
That's awesome. And there's got to be a lot of feel-good moments when you're the principal. You're in your second year now as a principal. What are you most proud of?
I think traditionally, one might be proud of achievement, and I think we all are. But I think what we're most proud of at Jarabec and our surrounding schools is the comprehensive program that we provide for our students. And that recipe that is comprised of an experienced staff, a very involved community, comprehensive programs like music and art and physical education and enrichment programs that are provided by our foundation. Very, very generous group of parents who supports enrichment at our school. And we have lots of opportunities, not only through our academic program for our parents, but for our teachers to coexist and provide that program.
That's fantastic. Great stuff. And Scott, you were telling me, hey, this is just like a private school basically, right?
It is. I mean, from my personal experience, and I think there's other parents that would attest to this, that Jarabec and some of the other schools in Scripps Ranch are equal, sometimes not better, than some private institutions. And as a real estate agent, I get the question all the time, if I'm buying in this area, should I send my kids to public or private? And in my opinion, with all the enrichment and all the extra access to activities and art and music and math, family science nights, those sort of things, they have a Dr. Seuss reading night, which is great. You get all that same stuff at a private institution, and I think the misnomer is that you've got to pay for something in order to get it. And that's just not the case in Scripps Ranch. I think any parent or any person investing or buying real estate in Scripps Ranch would be so thrilled to be able to send their kids, and privileged actually to have someone like Christy leading the charge at a school like Jarabec. So
yeah, that's great stuff.
It's a big thing.
And did you want to talk about some of the achievements from Jarabec, Christy?
Well, I think, like I said, when you look at what sometimes is focused on test scores, but we have our comprehensive program. We're very proud of course, of the achievement. And our test scores are obviously public. We have a baseline year at our state level for testing, but we look at multiple measures in how we look at kids. And I'm just so proud of the program that's supporting the achievement at our school. And the steps we've taken in the last couple years as a new community working together to change some of our programs and still achieve. And we just have a great community and parent support and a great staff. I'm very proud to serve them. Well,
it's well known, Scott, as you know, in the real estate world, that this is an area, people seek these areas out because of the schools.
Sure.
Right? I mean, that's known, that, people will come to Scripps Ranch because they know the schools are so great. So there are a lot of people, you're having an impact. People know the achievements. They're looking up the test scores or whatever it is. People know, right, Scott?
They do. It's all that stuff's online, obviously, but I think a lot of it wouldn't happen without the fundraising and the things that we do at Jarabec in order to make that achievement. Because it's one thing to help the kids excel in class and to learn and to be a part, but it takes a village. It really does. And I think the parent involvement and the fundraising that we do at Jarabec really helps to sustain and achieve those goals.
Let's talk about that fundraising, because we got Scripps Ranch parents watching, this segment right now. What about the fundraising? What do people need to know? How can they participate and help?
We have, like other schools in Scripps Ranch, we have a school foundation. Ours is Friend and Family Organization. It's led by a wonderful president, Ginger Coletto, who coordinates with her executive board, like Scott said, a plethora of activities, both academic and enrichment. They supply our school not only with things like supplies, extra supplies, they have a heavy investment in teacher training so that we can go above and beyond for students in how we deliver instruction. And then the activity part of that, like our spring fling, our ranch roundup, all these things that our parents participate in, vest not only our parents, but they vest the students in. And so it's not just about the academics, it's about all of that comprehensive nature of what we can give to them. And that's provided by our parents.
Yeah, the community, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can attest that. I mean, if there are parents out there that aren't aware of these programs, or maybe they don't have the time, maybe they're working 2 jobs and they don't have the time to volunteer on campus, there's so many ways to be involved. First, the FFO donation that they make annually for their student is huge. You can go participate at the Ranch Roundup, and you can bid on things that are baskets or gifts or trips, things that people put up for auction. The Spring Fling is an adult only activity with no kids, where the parents get a date night out. So there's a lot of and my wife's on the board. She's helping planning this year. So there's a lot of things that parents can, in ways that they can be involved to help continue with our success, other than just volunteering on campus. So fundraising is a big aspect.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. Scott,
Thanks.
great idea.
Yep.
Christy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.